Don't be boo. For more videos like this one, please subscribe to this channel.
So we take a look here at what we can expect. This would be starting tonight through Thursday, Christmas Eve. In general, we get into the Dakotas, maybe a 1 to 3 event here for you. Certainly once we get into Minnesota, maybe a bit more robust with the 3 to 5 inch totals. And then extreme northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, the UP of Michigan, that's where we could pick up the most out of this system, 5 to 8 inches. But the winds are going to be howling. We could see blizzard conditions in these areas. So it is going to be quite an event, I'm afraid, and really bad in terms of travel. We take a look at a place like Fargo, North Dakota, starting in the early morning hours tomorrow. I mean, we've got winds gusting up in the 40s to 50s, maybe even into the 60s by late morning tomorrow. That combined with any snow that's falling, the temperatures dropping like a rock, it is going to be pretty unbearable out there, I'm afraid. So if you do have things to do, I would get them done now before this kind of moves in. If you were planning to get out on the roads tomorrow, it's not going to be a good day for that. Our low pressure really winding up here in the northern plains. We've got the gusty conditions that are really going to be, I think, the biggest problem with this system as it does come in here to the upper plains, upper Midwest. Blizzard conditions are possible. Places like Grand Forks, Fargo, down to Lisbon, Jamestown, all of these areas could really be impacted with blizzard conditions in a short amount of time. So we'll watch for that. We do have winter storm watches up here in the light blue. That does include you in Duluth and Ironwood. We do have winter weather advisories for places like Sioux Falls and Sioux City, and now a newly issued, I believe, blizzard watch coming in here right along I-29 as well. So starting to see some of those watches and warnings increase, Carl. Not surprised. We'll probably see some more, don't you think?
Yeah, I do. It's going to be a really tough one across the northern plains.
Right, and of course we're worried about flooding with this because of that snowpack already on the ground there. So we do have those flash flood watches up, stretching from Charlottesville, Virginia, up through Maryland, Harrisburg, PA, and Scranton, up through Albany, New York. So definitely looking at some issues when it comes to flooding, at least through the end of the week and on the Christmas holiday. Heavy rain is possible again. We could see some pockets of heavy rain, and certainly that will be enough to trigger the flash flooding once we have the snow melt factored in as well, as Carl was mentioning. So we take a look at late week and what we can expect. That melting snow making the flooding way more likely here, especially in some of these areas like Albany, Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, maybe even down towards Pittsburgh. We're going to have to watch out for those effects. So again, Another problem here as we deal with this holiday week, it's the rain, the wind, and then that lake effect snow that's going to be coming on in as well across the Great Lakes. So there we see it as we time it out. This is a look at Christmas Eve at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, looking at widespread rain across the region. That cold front hasn't pushed through just yet, but it will. And when it does so, boy, that's really going to kick it up here along the Great Lakes. So we're looking at Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, some of those areas getting hit pretty hard. Buffalo, the South towns getting quite a bit of snow out of this one, I'm afraid. But for you here along and closer to the I-95 corridor, we're talking about rain. And again, that could trigger the flash flooding at least through Christmas morning. Certainly as we work our way up the Appalachians into Washington, D.C. and farther north into upstate New York. That is where we could really see some issues as that rain falls and that snow continues to melt, Chris. That is just not a good combination at all.
No, and some people excited about the chance of a white Christmas. Other people hopeful.
A good amount of snow. We did get some snow yesterday here in the Midwest as well, about 1.5 inches here in Minneapolis, 2 inches or so in La Crosse, Cedar Rapids. You picked up 1 inch in Madison, almost 2 inches. All of these spots that could see quite a bit of snow out of this next system as it makes its way in. Take a look at this. This is through Wednesday of this week. We're talking about maybe 8 to 12 inches of snow in purple here. We're talking Des Moines, Iowa, Waterloo, Rockford, Illinois, maybe Madison, Wisconsin, Milwaukee, you could see maybe as much as 5 to 8 inches of snow out of this. So we already have the winter storm warnings up here for Des Moines, Waterloo, and then winter weather advisories in teal all around it. That does include you in Minneapolis, also in Kansas City and in Madison, Rockford, as I mentioned, another place, but really stretching all the way back to North Platte, Nebraska. So pretty widespread area where we could see significant impacts from this system. We'll take a look at today. We've got the snow falling there across the Rockies, kind of a wintry mix off to the south, but this is going to pick up tonight, move out to the east, and with that we will see that wintry mix develop as well. Places like Wichita, watch out for maybe some freezing rain or ice coming your way, and then the wintry mix kind of persists a little bit farther north. But as we get into tomorrow, into Kansas City, eventually the snow really gets cranking, though, I think in Iowa, northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin, and we're gonna have to watch out for the impacts there, Chris. Fallen or does fall is going to be blowing around out there as well. So for you here in Milwaukee, looks like we will still see some snow for the next couple of hours, kind of tapering off past dinner time. But those winds are going to stay up there all night long, up into the 30s. So it does look like we will be looking at difficult travel conditions for the remainder of this evening. Here in Milwaukee, winds right now, we're going to time this out for you, gusting into the 20s this afternoon and this evening, and then picking up and kind of holding on in strength as we get into the overnight hours, intensifying, maybe as high as 50-mile-per-hour winds coming into the Milwaukee area. So really going to be whipping there right off of Lake Michigan. How much snow still to come? Not a lot. This isn't really a big snow event here at all. Just an inch or so for many of you here in southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois. What about Detroit? At your forecast, Watertown does look like we'll get things going tonight with a wintry mix coming in late, turning over to snow or snow showers by tomorrow morning, and then lasting throughout the day tomorrow in through Sunday with perhaps some more snow showers. So could see it pile up in a place like Watertown. We'll see some snow here right along the lakes as well. Buffalo, you'll be getting in on the action, as well as Syracuse, Watertown, Tug Hill Plateau, all of you getting at least some snow. But I think the takeaway here will be Watertown maybe picking up the biggest totals here, which could impact your travel, Chris.
Right, and
the air out there, and some of that's even going to get into the south. We're looking at Dallas, Texas. We're going to be impacted by that as well. We've got this big air mass from the Arctic coming in, and it's going to stick around for a while, and it's really going to take its grip here, not only in the Midwest and the plains, eventually in through the southern states as well. We're talking about places like Dallas. We've got colder temperatures coming your way, even as far south as Florida, for that matter. Snow will be developing right along the leading edge of this weekend, but boy, Sunday is going to be quite the cold day here for most of us. Take a look here at Nashville, Tennessee. Your average low is 29 degrees. We're fine over the weekend. It's going to take a little while to get to you, Nashville, but boy, here it comes. And by the time we get into next week, even as late as next Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're looking at some teens coming your way in Nashville. So staying exceptionally cold there later on next week for you. Monday morning, we're looking at 20s from Nashville and Atlanta. 30s here in Jackson, Dallas. You'll be in the 40s on Monday. And then Tuesday, even colder air settling in. It's just going to continue to kind of creep south here as that Arctic air really just takes its grip. So Oklahoma City is another place where your average low should be around 30, but we're not going to be anywhere near that by the time we get into the later part of next week. Another place that's going to be very cold, of course, is Chicago, and that's where we find Mike Seidel. Mike, it's coming your way. On the way across the south, we'll see multiple rounds of rain over the next few days. So taking a look at what's to come here, this would be through Sunday evening, maybe as much as 1 to 2 inches, particularly once we get in and around the coastal Carolinas here into northern Florida. So disturbances that are going to be rolling through right now. We're looking at radar, noticing some of that rain here in the Midwest associated with our storm system. Quiet for now here in the south, but this will change as we time this out for you with our future radar. Noticing by this evening some rain working its way now in through Mississippi and Tennessee, up in through Kentucky as well. Eventually Atlanta, you'll be getting in on the rain overnight into tomorrow morning, as well as much of Alabama for that matter. And then eventually into the northern Florida area and into the Panhandle and into the Carolinas. This is a look at 8 o'clock in the morning. So from Norfolk to Charlotte to Charleston, getting some scattered showers coming your way. These won't be all day events, but they will slow you down a little bit if you do have any outdoor plans. You're just going to want to grab that umbrella. Again, looking at a rainy day tomorrow for many of these southern cities. We're talking about Wilmington, Tallahassee, Montgomery, over into New Orleans. So looking at some more of it coming in Friday night as well as in through the weekend here. So just kind of a soggy, unsettled weather pattern that we'll be dealing with for the next few days, Chris.